And good afternoon. Welcome back to Tech20 Tuesday for another Tuesday. A little chilly one this week, but all is well in the education world. Learning inside and online is nice and warm. My name is Jeff Whipple. I'm a technology learning mentor in School District 18 here in Fredericton. And, today's kind of funny. Not funny, it's kind of an interesting space. Google, of course, is known for all their really wonderful web tools. And try to say that one fast three times. All their really wonderful web tools, web-based tools, their Google Docs, Google Mail, all those kinds of things. But today we're going to have a look at actually one that Google has that's a downloadable application to your computer. And here with all things Google, the master of all things Google, I should say, is Tim. Tim's from School District 8 in Oromocto, or not in Oromocto, in St. John. And Tim's going to talk today about Google SketchUp. Welcome, Tim. And so Tim's just pulling up his desktop here. We can all look and share it. And welcome to Tech20 Tuesday, Tim. Okay, seem to be having some microphone issues with Tim. Maybe not. There we
How's
go.
that?
That's
Pretty good?
wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, sorry everyone.
No, not a problem. Thanks for joining us today, Tim.
Very good. Hey, thanks for having me, Jeff, and welcome everyone. I'm going to be going through a few educational applications with Google SketchUp for classrooms around the province. Now, what Google has done is created a program that is very user-friendly. Now, advanced users would be probably want to go to the route of AutoCAD and such, but anyways, for our middle school students and even people at home, this is a program that is free to download and quite user friendly in my opinion. In fact, for when I've used it in the classroom, I've had to really give minimal instruction before kids just go and fly with it. So what I'm going to be doing is going through the start of the program, and from there we'll just go through the step by step, and I'll just be inserting a few of the ways we can use Google SketchUp in our classrooms. So the first item I have is the welcome, and what they ask is the template that you would like to use. And in industry, the standard is feet and inches, so typically I default to there. However, what Google SketchUp has done is they've added other options. And I'll just scroll down. There's the standard inches and feet, architectural design feet and inches, millimeters, and there's Google Earth rendering and a bunch of different options. But anyways, what I've done is brought up, I made a map, pardon me, of my yard at home, and I did this as like a mapping exercise. So what you're seeing right now is just a view from my neighbor's house without their house, and my son had a spy party, so we had to I kind of mapped everything out as close as I could with feet and inches. So in terms of our students doing this, you can see the play structure to my right, and that's something that can be downloaded as an object, as an image. And there's a truck too, but believe it or not, these can all be also built on the Google SketchUp program. I'm just going to zoom out and have a view of the whole map here. Now, in terms of what students would see, you can start off with a 90 by 180 landscape format and begin your mapping from there. Now, in School District 8 here, we had one school that used this program as part of their project-based learning activity for rendering neighborhoods that were affected by flood waters. So this was a fairly easy way that students could design their neighborhood and then put different scenarios in there. And one thing that you can do with it is print out the images as such, or you can also go into the snipping tools and use a snipping tool to cut out different pictures or take screenshots as such. Now it is three-dimensional too, and if you look on the bottom, you can see where a few of the items had gone through the bottom, but that can all be adjusted if you're looking for that level of precision. Now, in terms of another classroom application, you have the digital architecture of recreating buildings and structures in the world, and that's where these buildings up top come, where you can add a new building that you may have constructed. So in terms of looking at, let's say you're studying a city in Canada or the US or anywhere in the world, you can actually go into this 3D warehouse and look for an object that was built anywhere in the world. I click here in Dallas, and here is where you could zoom in and find different buildings that have been constructed. So all these little dots here are all buildings that were built by individuals. Now, if you hover over one, you'll see the drawing come up, and here we have this building that was constructed by an individual, and they can all be uploaded to Google, and students can share those and see those. And in terms of our architects and engineers out there, this is a fairly easy way to take on the challenge of constructing a building. Now, we've seen these used as enrichment ideas. We've also seen them used as actual projects that people use for building, reconstructing their own neighborhoods, just to get a better idea of their community. Now, looking up, we have the photo textures. Now, if you click that, photo textures, you can click any address in mostly continental USA and Canada and get a view of different parts. And from there, this is where Google has allowed us to kind of go in, make the actual block building, and then take a photo of a building and then cut it and paste it on the actual building that you've rendered. So it's almost like cheating, but not that big of a deal in that. I'll just go into Google Earth here. Google Earth is also where you get to share a lot of the buildings that you would make. Now, the reason you want to do that is for a variety of reasons. You can look at the history of an area, the topography. The Google has kind of dovetailed what they do, Google SketchUp with Google Earth, and that's go into a search in Google Earth, you would see that we can zoom into Google Earth, or I put a view Fredericton, and you can see the buildings that have been built and set up as such. I'm just going to zoom in a little more. Oops, wrong one. There we go. And this is the zoom in. Students love zooming in. It goes down, and it kind of levels off. And in the distance, I'm not sure if you can see, but these are actual buildings that were built using the Google SketchUp. And what you would have to do is go into Google Earth, go over top, get the dimensions, just as I began with the 60 or 90 by 90 lot. And you'd build from the footprint up. There we go, Fredericton. So these are all buildings that people had made. Now, whether or not they took the images from the texture, looks like they did here, you can actually go and build all of these structures yourself. And they have the ability to do that in Google SketchUp. Now, if I want to convert it to the street view, I just click the street view, and this is the street view of Fredericton, the market, if you recognize that. It's the corner of the market. Now, if I switch back to what's been rendered using the Google SketchUp, you see the actual buildings that people had made. Now, as a side, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask in the question box there, or comments as such. Okay, the interesting thing here, you can also go cruise down the streets, turn around, have a look, street view. So in terms of the applications here, this afternoon I put in Mount Everest just to see what would come up. And in terms of what you could learn in terms of the topology, this is something that really is quite an incredible technology. So there we just flew to Mount Everest, and there are, again, the 3D build. Actually, I forgot to mention the 3D buildings. Make sure in Google Earth you get the 3D buildings selected, because once you go and look at different parts of the world using Google Earth, this is what really connects us. So you can see how people have built and these different buildings and such. Now, the 360 images too are quite amazing. Now, it's not something that we can build in Google SketchUp, but in terms of, I think what Google's trying to do is get us connected to view different parts of the world and kind of get that whole global community going. So this is a 360 image, and along the way, if a student wanted to, if they saw a hut here from the Google Earth, they could actually go in and rebuild a hut they saw here or a house and have it published as such. So that's the Google Earth connection, and this is the original drawing. Now, basically, when you're starting out with Google SketchUp, you're looking at a plain XYZ environment with an individual here, and this individual is based as used as reference. So if you were to click the tape measure, and this is where the mathematics measuring comes in, I see that this young lady was 5 feet 6 and 3/16 of an inch inches tall. So in terms of mathematics, there are all kinds of applications for that. And in terms of building, there are just a few things you'd have to show your students. A rectangle, you'd start off with a square on the ground, and if we went to a 90 feet by 90 foot square, not sure if I did that right, maybe I missed one of the quotations. Yeah, so I can just go edit, undo, and fix that up. There, I just hit the minimize to get the measurements in. Yeah, I'll try it again. Okay, 90 feet by 90 feet. There we go. So there I have, let's say, my yard. I can zoom extents. And from this point too, you can, again, start your drafting. An architect, you can start with your lines, squares, and such, and get all that going. The push and pull, which is where you get the depth going. And this is also where you can texture that I showed you before. Now, the default here is a little place in Colorado. Now, if I just want to get a storefront here, I'll just scroll down to here. No, I'll just zoom out. Select region, pull this over. Exact dimensions, I'm not sure of right now. I'm just going to get as bit of a large rectangle as I can. I'm going to grab it. Oh, forgot to grab it in my photo. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Oops. Okay, there's the face. Anyways, you get the picture. You can. So I'm just shooting all these different buttons now. Anyways, you get the idea that you can get different pictures on there. Okay. Now, what else do we have here? So the FIT program and technology with the teachers and classroom shops. Another way teachers are using this is planning with value added. Now, what's meant by that is you have teachers that, one interesting thing is that they have, it's like a shop that they have, and they have a bunch of different items to make a certain object. And before they get building, they'd have to draft out everything they'd be using on the Google SketchUp. So in terms of a classroom application, the students would be going in here to draft their projects and make sure the structure is sound, render it. You can have the different textures on it. In terms of the textures, you have all different options here with the materials. If you want to ground cover, translucent for windows and such. There we go. If you wanted some vegetation for grass, add that. Now, one option that students enjoy is the getting models, the uploading of different models. And this is where you get projects that people have already done. So let's say you want to upload a portrait. Now, 3D Warehouse has all kinds of items on there. And in terms of our smart boards and smart cameras, if you get a 3D image, you can actually have it up on the smart board and look at it in a three-dimensional model. You can bring it in directly into Google SketchUp. You can do the measurements on it, and again, this goes back to having an accurately drawn project on the Google SketchUp here for any kinds of project-based land project, any kind of visual, you need the structure. See, that's a little small guy that didn't come up properly. All right, any questions so far? We're almost out of time here.
Yeah, Tim, this is fascinating because I'll be honest with you. I haven't done a lot with Google SketchUp. I've played with it a little bit here and there, but really haven't used it in the classroom at all with students. And I can really see a lot of creativity possibilities here in terms of community planning. I mean, there's tremendous tools here. One of the things that I was wondering, I mean, we all know Google is a web master. I wonder if you've heard any talk about Google Earth being a web-based tool or development of a web-based Google SketchUp, I should say, instead of being a download, because I know that a lot of teachers don't have administrative rights on their computers, or the students as well.
Yeah, they are definitely looking at merging the two, so that what you have as the end product is the ability to create and then publish, which kind of gives that you're kind of building the Google Google Village, if you will, where we're all kind of contributing to different buildings that you have out there. Let's look at Boston here. Boston's is one great example of what's been done with people that are using the program there. In terms of desktop savings, if you have local administration rights, you can ask your IT person to get you in there, and you can have it on your own computers. Otherwise, most of the computer labs now, they have this on their desktop, and if not, you can just request, and it's a free download. So you can see here the 3D objects here. This is in Boston now. It's a larger city, of course, compared to our St. John or Fredericton. But this is kind of what they're looking at, is giving you a virtual simulation tour of different cities in the world. And I think that's kind of the mandate of Google, is kind of getting connected to the world in that global sense. And that's all I have, Jeff.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Tim.
Right.
If anybody has any questions for Tim, I am sure he'll stay around for a minute or two. You can put them in the chat window, or you can open up your microphone and do it the old-fashioned way. And if not, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. Google Earth,
my pleasure.
Google SketchUp, really, I know of a lot of middle school technology programs that are using it, and it certainly is a powerful little tool for people, for students to use for learning.
I agree.
Good. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you don't have any questions, we will see you all again next week on Tech20 Tuesday. And don't ask me what it is. I would have to go check, but I'm sure it'll be something cool, and we'll see you then. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.